So let me ask you this question. What if you never found love? It's a deep question, isn't it? And a difficult one. And if we're honest, it's the question most of us try to avoid. I had a friend who came to me once and she wasn't desperate. She didn't lack self-love. She had friends, purpose, and a full life. She wasn't asking me to save her. She simply wanted to understand how to rid herself of this haunting desire, that constantly longing to be loved by a romantic partner. And that's what stopped me right there in the trap, because where do you even begin with that? I don't want to take away your belief in the love or strip away the magic of the romantic movies and fairy tales and the story we've all grown up with and believed in. But this goes deeper than we think. For most of our life, we've been conditioned through those stories, through the movies, through the music and conversation and the media about what romantic love is really about. And the media makes out that romantic love is the crowning of achievement of life, the ultimate form of belonging, the one thing that makes everything make sense in life. So it's no surprise that so many of us measure our worth on how close we are in finding romance. Even when we have a deep friendship, purpose, joy, and personal growth, there is still a quiet feeling that something essential is missing. We don't see being single as complete and valid. Instead, we see it as something as unfinished. But here's the truth. This is where we need to be grounded in ourselves and the reality. Love is beautiful. Yes, it is. Of course it is. But being in a relationship does not erase loneliness or fix your life. No. It simply gives you another flaw and a complicated human being to try to build a life with. And that process of trying, failing, and learning is what we call heartbreak. Have you ever noticed how romantic movies always end at the perfect moment? When the two people are kissing underneath the stars, dancing under the moonlight, and riding off in the sunset? Yeah, I know we've all watched their movies. But what they never do, they never show you what really happens after the credits have gone up, after the happy ever after. They never show you the reality. They never show you the mess that comes when fantasy meets real life. And this is what makes the myth so dangerous, because relationship is not a fairy tale. There's a constant negotiation between fantasy and reality. Most of us are not just searching for love. We are searching for a very specific story about love that's been playing out in our heads from childhood. And that is where the pain begins. Now, some of you out there thinking, Estella, hold on. Shaking me, no. Stop. I still want that romantic relationship. I still want the real love. And I hear you, because I am on your side too. I believe in love too. And I want love. We are all human, and it's a valid thing to be wanted, and it's a universal thing. But believing that it's everything, that your life is incomplete without it, is what creates suffering. Your desire for love is not the problem, but the way it consumes you, the way it consumes your life. It takes over your thoughts, your peace, your sense of self, and that is what we need to shift from. You are allowed to want love, but it should not haunt you, control you, or take you out of your life and out of the vision of who you are. So the real question becomes this: how do you manage your relationship with this desire so that it doesn't take over your entire existence? How do you hold the desire to love while still creating the life that feels meaningful to you and fulfilling and alive? This is where everything begins to shift, because instead of living in fear, you begin to move into curiosity. And instead of asking, what if I never fall in love? Maybe you begin asking, if I don't find love, what kind of life will I still choose to create? Because this is not about removing your desire, it's about how you hold on to it. So, I have 4 steps right here. I'm showing you that, yeah. I have 4 steps here that's going to help you get through this. So stay with me. And if you see my eyes gazing over, please forgive me, because behind me I got some crazy people zip lining from the top of the building to another top of the building, or swinging out across the building. So I apologize. And if you hear any screaming, it's not me, it's them zip lining. So anyway, I digress. Let's get back. So the first one, you've got to mourn. Yes. You need to mourn, because there's a version of life that you're imagining for yourself, a timeline that you thought would have happened by now. And it's a story that you believe would unfold in a certain way. Maybe you thought you would have a partner by now, a family, or a life that looks very different from where you are today. You need to grieve that imagined life, not from a place of pity, but from a place of respect. You cannot move forward if you refuse to acknowledge what hasn't happened. So cry about it if you have to cry. Write about it if you have to write about it. You get it out, talk about it, and feel it fully inside yourself, because grieving creates space for you to finally embrace the life you actually have. So that's step number 1, mourning. Let's move on to step number 2. Stay with me now. Step 2 is fear. Because so many of us live in a loop of what if? What if I never find that love? What if no one ever chooses me? And what if I never experience the kind of connection I'm longing for? But I want you to pause. Pause, press that pause button and really ask yourself, is this truly about love? Or is it about the fear of being unseen, unimportant, unchosen, or even not enough? Because the truth is, you are not unlovable. You are simply single. And those are not the same two things. Life is constantly changing, and just because you are single today doesn't mean that you are going to be single in the future, in a few months or a year from now. None of this predicts what will happen. So why are you allowing fear to write a story that hasn't been unfolded yet? And when fear shows up, I want you to ask yourself a deeper question. When I say I want love, what do I really mean? Do I mean I want to feel safe, seen, understood, validated, or connected? Because sometimes what we are actually craving is not a person, but a feeling. And when we attach that feeling only to the idea of that one person out there, we limit ourselves from experiencing the fullness of life. All right, moving on. That's fear. Let's move on to the next one. So step 3 is realignment. Sometimes love does not happen the way we expect it to. And that's not because you are unworthy. It's because life is unpredictable, random, and at times deeply unfair. Love is not a reward. It's not a proof of your value. And it's not something you are entitled to receive in your lifetime. I'm sorry, I know I said it. But There is also so many factors involved in timing, location, people, choices, and circumstances. And sometimes it really is just a matter of, guess what? Chance. So instead of waiting, I want you to ask yourself, how can I participate more in owning my own life? What experience can I create? What passion can I explore? What friendship can I deepen? And what part of myself have I not yet explored? There are endless possibilities available to you, and life is not about waiting for something or someone to show up. It's about continuing to build, explore, and expand until your life feels aligned with who you are becoming. And you often hear this saying, we've all heard it. I found love when I stopped looking. Yeah, we've all heard that. But you know what really happened is that they found love when they started living. Not because it guarantees anything, but because they're creating a life that was already full, already meaningful, and already alive. And if love doesn't enter your life at any point, but I hope it does. I hope when it does, it finds you living a full life, growing deeper with yourself, creating a life that it can actually fit into. Because love does arrive, but not always in the way that we imagine. And when you stop narrowing your definition of love, you start seeing it everywhere in your life, in your friendship, in your experience, in your growth, and even within yourself. Love is something that doesn't only exist in one form, it moves through your life in ways that you've never noticed before. And when you open yourself to that, guess what? Everything begins to change. So, on to the last one. You still with me? Let's go. So the final step, here we go. Step 4, rise. I need you to rise and move forward with intent. I won't tell you to stop wanting love because that would be unrealistic and unfair. And that is not what this is all about. Wanting love is human. It is natural and it's part of who you are. But your life cannot be put on pause while you wait for it. So instead of shrinking your life around the absence of love, I want you to rise up and move forward with intention. And I want you to become aware of how much space this desire is taking up in your mind and the energy it's taken out of your life. Because if you never find romance, if you never find love, you will still live. Do you hear me? You will still live. You will live and you will build a life so rich and so full of meaning that it will become your own great love story. Because at the end of the day, love is not just something you receive, it's something you are. And I hope you never forget that. We put so much pressure on ourselves to find love, to make it happen, to follow a timeline that we've been told to follow, that we've been taught to believe. But my love does not work like that. And life does not follow a script. Love always arrives, but not always in the way we expect. And the biggest fear for so many of us is the thought that all the things we wish for may never come true. There's a quiet beauty in realizing that the things that you never even wished for might just be the most meaningful part of your life. Sometimes I describe romantic love like coffee. Can you live without it? Yes. Can you function without it? Absolutely. But would it be nice to have? Of course. But it's not the main dish of your life. It is not the center of your table. It was never meant to be the only thing that defines your happiness, because love is not something you sit and wait for. Love is something you participate in. Sometimes it's the fastest way to feel love is to give it. Give your time, your energy, your presence, your care. Why not support another woman who is struggling? Offer them guidance where you can. Maybe volunteer, be a mentor, or simply show up for someone who needs to be feel seen. You see, when you begin to give love freely, you place yourself in what I call the love loop. Yes. Where love becomes your baseline, not something that you're chasing, but something you are living every single day. And when you live like that, something shifts within you. You are no longer waiting to be chosen. No. You are no longer measuring your worth by who's arriving. No. You are no longer placing your life on hold. You are becoming the source. And from that place, whether love comes or not, you are already having built a life that feels full, aligned, and deeply meaningful. So if love arrives, it will meet you there in a life you already have created. And if it doesn't, you still have a life that feels love and full and worthy. And that, my darling, is the real freedom. Because your life was never meant to begin when someone else's arrived. It was always meant to begin with, guess who? Yes, you. That was step 4. Goodbye. Anyway, as I was putting this together, there was a song playing over and over in my head. And maybe that's the reminder we all need, because like the song says, you can't hurry love. I'm sure you all know the song I'm on about. You can't hurry love, no. And maybe you were never meant to. Maybe love isn't something you chase. Maybe it's something that you meet when you're finally living. So stop rushing your life. Stop measuring your worth by your relationship status. Stop believing you're behind. You're not late. You're becoming. So rise. Live the full life you're meant to live. Deeply with yourself. Fall in love back with yourself. And trust that when love is meant to find you, it will. I'm Estella, and this is Redefine Her World, where we rise together, heal together, and remind each other that we never walk alone. So please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, because there may be another woman out there that also needs to rise with you. So remember, you can't hurry love. No, you just have to. Now I promise you my view, so let's go and check out these crazy people.